Say hey.
Hey,
Hey guys, it's Liza. What's your name?
it's Ruthie.
Hey, we're gonna teach y'all how to make super easy, scoot with me, art pumpkins. Hey Jill McCool and all your awesome granddaughters. So we live in Florida, and what happens when we carve a pumpkin too early, Ruthie, in Florida?
It rots.
It rots. If we carve a pumpkin, hey Emily, in Florida, you know, the first week of October or even the third week of October, it rots. So that's why I wanted to show you guys how to make these Matisse inspired pumpkins. And Ruthie's going to join me, and she's going to create one too, because they're, hi Flint and all your awesome artists, because there's a great way to have your kids create these pumpkins, or adults, and it's super easy. So we love sharing art with you guys, and this is a fun tutorial. So fast, and a lot of folks will miss this live, but it'll be posted later. So these were the examples. There'll be a link to this, to my blog post about this. So this one, there's one too. Do you want to show them up close? This one was inspired by who? Do you know?
You.
Henri Matisse. Matisse and his cutouts. So Henri Matisse is a famous artist. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. And he painted his whole life, but later on in life he got super sick and he still wanted to make art. And he started cutting out collage works. Oh, where's our microphone? This will work. We're learning. Later on in his life, Matisse made hi Brittany, we're around the corner from you. Made all of his artworks out of collage paper. So these shapes on this pumpkin were inspired by Matisse. And on the blog, there's a little printout of your supply list. And it's actually got a link to the Momo website. Are you awake?
Yeah.
That tells you and your kids, or just grown-ups, about Matisse and the history of his cutouts in the 1940s, because they're so super cool. And look at my shirt. I made this shirt. It looks like Matisse. But look, here's one that you could also create with what I'm about to show you, and this is just a very expressive art pumpkin. Isn't that super fun? So first of all, I have to tell you, you want to show them this one? Do you think that's Matisse or just expressive?
Matisse.
Matisse. Matisse. They're very organic shapes. Hey, Paul and Isaiah. Hey, Rebecca. I'm so glad y'all are here. So there's the secret way to make the pumpkins. When you were really little, I bet you don't remember it, we tried painting pumpkins at one point. And I bet you guys have too, and it is super messy, and sometimes it's not even worth the trouble. So the secret material for these pumpkins is just chalk markers. What? Hey, Tova and Brooks. So the only thing, say hey to Brooks.
Hey, Brooks.
The only thing is, I have to tell you the mistake I made getting ready for you guys. So initially I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to paint pumpkins white, and then the Matisse shapes will pop out even more. It didn't work. So my original supply list for you guys said house paint or white acrylic paint. And look, this is what it looked like. It was like a blank slate, but guess what? Guess what doesn't stick to pumpkins? Acrylic paint. So don't paint your pumpkins. Hey, Jane. The only thing is, there's Grandmommy. The only thing is, if you are just an adult with no kids in your house and you're like, yes, I would love to paint a pumpkin and then make those funky shapes, it would look more like my shirt. You could probably do it as an adult. You could get white acrylic paint or white house paint and paint it. The only problem is when you chalk paint over it, sometimes it scratches. So if you've got kids that are creating the pumpkins and they're bearing down, being all expressive and creative, then it'll scratch the paint off. But if you're a grown-up and you just want to make one of these, guess what? Go for it. So, check this out. What do you think I did on this? What did I use?
Chalk markers?
Yes! Chalk markers. The great thing about chalk markers is, and you said chalk markers look a lot like what kind of markers?
Posca pens.
Yeah, so Posca pens are like the old school 80s paint pens that we used when we were little, people in their 30s and 40s. And those would work great, but they're oil-based, so they're not super great for kids to work with. But chalk markers, do you want to go on and start coloring one? Do it. Chalk markers, you have to shake up like the old school paint pens. And then you have to, bear down. But then you can have your kids any age just go crazy on the pumpkin. Juju, you're around the corner too. Juju says she loves paint pens. Everybody does. So look, I could totally see you guys creating just crazy, funky art pumpkins. You don't have to use the Matisse shapes. I want to see how well it does. Look, check this out. I have these links on the blog site too, along with the supply list. Obviously, it's not a whole lot. I bought a vintage color set and a bold color set, and I used all of them on this one. So the only thing is, check it out. If you've got smaller kids or even 40-year-old kids, and you start just drawing like crazy, unless you let it dry, it's going to be a little smudgy, or a lot smudgy, because it's like liquid chalk. But if you take your time and really move around your pumpkin, Ruthie's working, let them see what you're doing, and kind of let it dry, or even blow on it, and then start working around. If you want it to last forever, which it will. Ooh, I like that. Can I show them?
I'm doing circles around, but it got smudgy, so.
That's okay. If it gets smudgy, the great thing is you can just go right over it again, which is fantastic. So I wanted to give y'all a tip in case you do have young kids and you want them to do something super funky like this. Lots of times as grown-ups, we're like, this is a project where you would totally be like, just go for it. Like, you'd want to watch them with chalk markers. But if they scribbled all over it, I think that would be super cool. And let me show you an example. If you had a younger kid, or just a kid who's funky and free and willing to just scribble and go crazy, as the parent, you could be like, okay, are you done? Because I would love to add a few little marks. Hey, Mare and Holly. If your kid gets bored of this project in like 2 seconds, it's really cool if you had marks and marks and marks and marks from your child, you could either go around all the negative space. You don't have to wash your pumpkin first, Brittany, because you're not going to eat it. I guess you could wash it just for safety's sake. But I didn't wash mine. If you have a really young kid who is scribbling all over it, you, the mom or the dad, could go back in and fill in all the negative space that they didn't draw, and it actually makes their doodle pop even more. And you could use, if you were using, what is negative space? Emily's asking. So negative space is the area behind where their doodles are. So if you were drawing on a white pumpkin, it might stick better, Brittany. If you were drawing on a white pumpkin, all the negative space would be that creamy white color. But if you wanted to do this on an orange pumpkin, if I really wanted this to be super awesome, I could even take a Sharpie and go back and fill in, although a really thick Sharpie would be super rad. Although, don't do a Sharpie. Let's do a chalk marker. It works better. If I wanted this to be super awesome, I, as the mom, could go back and basically color in the whole pumpkin so that all my kids' shapes would pop. How's it going?
Good.
You dig it?
Mm-hmm.
You like the silver?
After it dries, I'm gonna make polka dots all over it.
I love that. That's something great to talk about. So like this example was just scribble, and then I went back over and added a little layers of dashes and marks. And you can even talk to your kids about how even this is the elements of art. It's color and it's shape, and this almost looks like texture. So it's chalk markers. They're the magic answer. Let me tell you this though. If you want these to last outside, you're going to want to get like a spray varnish for them. This is what I use. It's at Michael's or Home Depot. Rust-Oleum Universal Clear. I think it's on the blog site. Jessica Williams says, outlining the shapes in black on the orange pumpkin would be fun. Absolutely. And actually, I just tried a Sharpie and it didn't work super great. Let me show you this. When your kids or you, awesome artists, adults, are done, the chalk does dry, which is great. And then you just spray it, obviously outside, obviously with a mask, obviously away from kids. This varnish is magic. This is the varnish I use on the 38 ornaments that I make. And there's not like a yellow tint to it. Although it wouldn't matter because it's a pumpkin. How's it going now? Check out, can I show them how thick and pretty that is? Look how bright this orange is. And do you want to show them the tip of it? Mm-hmm. It's pretty thick. It's almost like a big paint pen. But it is chalk. It's liquid chalk. So I hope that this inspires you guys. Once again, on the blog site, I have links to the chalk markers, but you don't have to buy them from Amazon. You can totally find them at Michael's or your local craft store. And then the varnish is just clear acrylic. It is oil-based, though. That's why I was saying use a mask. There's Peyton's mom's watching. Look, this is the last one that we talked about in the beginning. This was a green pumpkin that they had here at Pro Straw, our local pumpkin place. And then I think Ruthie talked about making one. Oh, Peyton says hi, Ruthie. Hi. For each of her teachers in 3rd grade. Wouldn't that be awesome? So once again, for those that joined right after we started, so my original intent was to paint all the pumpkins white and then do chalk marker on top of it. And guess what? It scratches off. It's no good. So unless you're a grown-up doing one for yourself, you could totally do this. But then when you use your chalk markers on top of the primed or white painted pumpkin, just bear down really soft rather than hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Also, this is a project where you've got to let go of perfectionism. We always talk about that in the studio and online with art and kids on my courses and workshops. And even I talk to women about that, letting go of perfectionism. So if I start drawing a funky, that one is dirty. Brittany, I need to wash that one. If I start drawing a funky Matisse shape and then I hit a ridge and I'm like, I didn't want to do that. Guess what? Chalk markers are such an easy fix. Like, you make it into something else you want. And if you don't love that shape, guess what? You just add something in and then you color it in. Parents, if y'all wanted to draw the Matisse shapes for the kids and then let it dry for about 5 minutes, they could go back and color them in, which would be good. So this is definitely a project that could be a learning experience. Like, hey, it's okay if it messes up, because look at Miss Liza's example. It's just crazy, funky stuff. So often when we're creating, we have to let go of what we think it's going to look like and then, accept what it is and embrace mistakes and oopses. How's it going, sister?
Good.
Good. So, hi, Natalie. So on the blog site that I'll link, it's in the post from yesterday, is there, I have a printout of some of these Matisse shapes that y'all are welcome to download. And, you know, there's no right or wrong. The great thing about these shapes is they're just curvy and funky. This one's almost like a paint splatter. So you're welcome to go download that. And I want to see your pumpkins that you create.
Mom, is this a real pumpkin?
Yeah, it's real. Isn't that crazy? It looks so perfect. So once again, if you use the chalk markers on a pumpkin, you're definitely going to want, hey Dawn, to varnish them because they'll last longer. Like if you had this out and didn't varnish it and it was out in the Florida heat or it rained, all the chalk marker would disappear, which honestly could be like a science experiment maybe, and you could just keep making another pumpkin. So what do you think?
Fun.
You dig? Thank y'all for joining us. We love sharing art with you guys, and I'd love to see your pumpkins. Do you want to see their pumpkins? Do you want them to tag us, and I'll show you their pictures? All right, if you guys make any pumpkins, we'd love to see them. And thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see them. So keep creating. What do you say?
Bye.
And check it out. Easy peasy. Bye, Jill. Thank you, guys.
It's dry already.
I know, it dries fast.
That one's not dry yet.
Yay. Bye, Emily and Brittany. Don't smile. Are you reading? Are you reading the comments?
No, I'm just falling asleep.